do I got something to read to you guys today. As the IBF officially drops a statement on us, in my opinion, exposing and denying an attempt by Eddie Hearn and Lewis Crocker behind the scenes trying to slither themselves into another cherry-picking fight. Instead of fighting guys like Devin the Dream Haney, who was public about fighting you, Lewis Crocker being public back about wanting to fight Devin the Dream Haney, and Eddie Hearn getting in the way and having hate for Devin the Dream Haney and being impossible to work with and set up fights with, they sent an exemption request to the IBF to compete against CONAH Walker, a fighter that they've already beaten. Yes, a fighter who's only ranked by one of the sanctioning bodies in the sport of boxing, the WBA. And they get denied, which rightfully so. Don't let boxing do this once again. Boxing politics get in the way of what the sport is supposed to be doing, setting up great fights. You cannot let Eddie Hearn and Lewis Crocker try to defend their title against somebody who isn't even ranked by the Ring Magazine or IBF rankings at all, my friends, okay? So they released this statement on us, which in my opinion absolutely exposes everything. It says Lewis Crocker is due to make a mandatory defense of the IBF welterweight title on or before March 13th of 2026. So by March 13th, Lewis Crocker needs to defend his title. The IBF is due to notify Crocker of his mandatory obligation approximately January 13th. So on January 13th, they will be letting know Lewis Crocker everything that's going to be going down. The leading available contender is the number 2 ranked fighter, Liam Paro. If you look at the IBF rankings, the number 1 ranked fighter is vacant. The number 2 ranked fighter is Liam Paro. Next man up. It says, on January 2nd of 2026, the IBF received a letter from you on behalf of the champion Lewis Crocker to participate in an optional defense of the welterweight title on April 18th or April 25th in Belfast, Northern Ireland. The $20,000 exception fee was received on January 20, 2026. The proposed April dates are 36 and 43 days respectively past the champion's March 13, 2026 mandatory due date. So if you look at the top, it says on January 13th of 2026, that's when they're going to be sending and letting know Lewis Crocker everything, his mandatory obligation. So 60 days from then, as you see down here, it says all optional defenses and our other bouts by a champion shall be concluded at least 60 days prior to the date the champion's mandatory is due and shall be subject to approval of the champion's chairman of the president. So 60 days from January 13th, the day that they're going to be letting Lewis Crocker know this, is what? March 13th. If we go into April, that's already 60 days past. So that's why they say it's been denied. April 18th and April 25th in Belfast, Ireland, it's a no-go. On January 7th, the 2026, the IBF received a letter from Matt Rose on behalf of Liam Paro opposing the granting of the exemption. Hey, Liam Paro's like, hey, I want this fight. How you going to give it to CONAH Walker and not somebody like me? The ex-IBF junior welterweight champion of the world and moved up to 147 pounds wants a crack at it now. It is the responsibility of the IBF board of directors to review the information regarding the exemption request and to determine whether the exemption should be granted or denied and what conditions, if any, shall apply pursuant to Rule 11D. The board of directors was provided with all the written submissions by parties involved. Now, check this out. Sean Palmer, January 8, 2026, page 2. On January 7th of 2026, IBF directors participated in a video conference to determine whether Mr. Crocker's exemption request should be granted or denied and what conditions may apply. The majority of the directors determined that Lewis Crocker's exemption request should be denied. So it's been denied. The IBF will order Lewis Crocker to begin negotiations with Liam Paro for a mandatory defense of the IBF welterweight title approximately 60 days prior to the mandatory due date persistent to Rule 5C. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. So Lewis Crocker and Eddie Hearn tried to set up a fight and exemption request to defend his title in Belfast, Ireland against CONAH Walker. That gets denied. Everybody thinks it's absolutely ridiculous, and instead now are being forced to have a mandatory fight, defend his title against Paro, which is going to be absolutely a great fight, my friends. I can't wait for that. Paro might just come in here and give Lewis Crocker everything he has to handle. I know it's going to be an exciting fight, don't get me wrong, but nasty work by Eddie Hearn trying to slither himself into a CONAH Walker fight. Good thing the IBF stuck to their guns, didn't allow this exemption request to take place, and now Eddie Hearn and Lewis Crocker got themselves a fight, and it is going to be against Paro, and it March 13th. Absolutely ridiculous, my friends. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this fight. Let me know what you guys think about Eddie Hearn trying to slither himself into a CONAH Walker fight. This is the MMA Boxing Addicts channel. It's getting a bit dark outside. About to go inside, call it a day, and I'm out, my friends.